So we're inside of Miximo's Fuse. This is actually the Steam version of Fuse. So if you um, don't have an Adobe account, this is the best version to use. You can download it for free on Steam. You will have to sign up for Steam, but that's free. And then you can download Fuse and open it on your desktop, which is what I have done right here. And when you're inside of Fuse, you'll see that there are a lot of different choices that you can do. If I start with the heads here, you can see that there are actually more choices in here than in the Adobe version of Fuse. So we've got some masked characters and some elves and stuff that are not in that other version. But we're going to go ahead and pick something in here. So if I click on the head character, this is just a standard male character that you can see that I can orbit around and look at it from different angles. And you can add any body parts that you want to this character and it will try to blend them, but we'll go ahead and go with the ones that were made to go with this character. So we can see that this one here, because it comes up first in the list here, is the torso that's supposed to go with this character. And so once it comes up, it should look like it matches the head. And this particular leg part is also supposed to go with it, the very first one here. And then the arms, it should be this one. And once you have all your body parts up, you can orbit around here and look at it and see if there's any adjustments you want to make to the proportions of the character. The clothes will automatically scale for those proportions. So you could do it after you put the clothes on. But for instance, if I want to just adjust his chest out a little bit, I can just drag it. You can go to your customize tab here, and as I change things in here, if I were to pull that in or pull it out, you can see the slider is moving around there. And if I want to pull, say, these shoulders, make them a little bigger, I can do that, and you can see the sliders are moving there as well. You could just go straight to the sliders. If you think the arms are a little too long, you could pull those back a little bit. You think the hands are a little bit too big, you could pull this slider back a little bit. So, go ahead and adjust your different body parts, and you can zoom in also to the face. And if you want to pull the cheekbones around or adjust the shape of the nose, it's all pretty interactive. So here I've, let's say I'm happy with that, or maybe let's just pull out a little bit more chin on him. There we go. That looks a little bit more proportional. Oh, maybe. Okay, it's got some personality. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to clothing, and I'll go ahead and you can see that there's quite a few different outfits in this version of Fuse. I am just going to choose something fairly standard. Let's say we go with this one right here. So it's a little bit of a jacket type of thing. And if we go to the bottoms, we can choose maybe this guy's a surfer guy or something. So maybe I'll choose something I can make into board shorts. We have red ones here that would kind of go with it. Or we have one here which actually has a nice stripe down the side, it looks like. So I use my middle mouse button, I can drag it. So those don't look like that interesting of board shorts, but I can make all this more interesting. Let's just stick some shoes on him. So we'll just put some shoes, and we can choose different ones and see what we like. Those are kind of cool. And hair wise, he's got the really cropped hair, as they all do when you first create them. We have all these different hairstyles I could do. I can do any one I want. He can have a mullet, or we can go with a really short style, or a poofy style. Let's go with something more like this. And then I can choose to go in and customize other things like hats if I want. I think I'll skip the hat and the eyewear. We could do that too. I think I'll skip the eyewear. Let's go to the beards. Actually, I'll go to the eyewear, and let's put something on him for that. So, or let's try it anyway. So I'll put some eyewear on there. Let's see what that looks like. So that's kind of cool. Kind of cool looking eyewear. You can see it's transparent, so that could be pretty nice. We can give him a beard if we want. He's a hipster. Or we could select that beard and hit delete on our keyboard and get rid of it. Maybe just a little goatee, that's kind of cool. All right, so we got the little goatee. I don't think I'm going to put any gloves on him. We could do the coronavirus mask. It's kind of appropriate. I think I'll leave that off. If you cover up their face with a mask or something like that, you're not going to have any option for facial animation. It might be good for a bad guy, but if you want to have some expressiveness in the face, maybe you don't want to do that. And mustaches, no, I think I'll skip the mustache. So this is my guy, and I do want you to customize these characters, not just by changing the body proportions a little bit, but also in the texture mapping. And that goes for pretty much everything. So you can select the skin, and you can go in there and you can adjust that. You can also set the size of that texture. Right now it's 1024 by 1024, which is pretty low resolution for the whole body, which is a pretty large area. So I could change that to 2048 by 2048. If you're going to a game, you might want to leave it more low resolution of 1024 by 1024. If you're going to an animation like in Maya, then 2048 by 2048 is going to be fine because you're not worried about real-time rendering. So if I want to go and adjust some things on this character. I can adjust skin color. I can make him Avatar blue or Hulk green. I could just adjust his skin tone to be either lighter or darker. You have different choices you could make over here. And if I say OK to that, actually it's going to go ahead and put it on there. And I think this is a surfer guy, so I think he actually would have a tan. So, and he might even have kind of a dark tan. So I could try different things here. I could adjust the value slider on the right here down to make it darker. So that looks like a darker tan, I think. And, you know, I'll say OK to that. If you are doing something, let's say the hair here, well, you can do the same thing, change the coloring. You can shift the hue, like, let me just see what happens. Yeah, I can kind of shift the hue, and it actually gives him green hair, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that for a surfer character. So I think I'll go ahead and go with that. Or we go with kind of the same color as his glasses there. We'll go a little more green. We can increase the highlight intensity. Actually, the highlight intensity looks like it's all the way up. There might be some variability in there. That like here's streaks visibility. It looks like the streaks are pretty all the way up. But there's some streak width that if I want the streaks, if he has streaks in his hair, let me just see what happens if I pull that up a little bit. It's making him a little bit more noticeable. So anyway, you can look through these different things. I'm not going to go through everything. One of the fun things of this program is that you can just explore it and find different things for you to tweak. On the skin, there's like tons of things that you can put in there. And like for instance, on this one, I might want to adjust his age a little bit. If I pull that up a little bit, it's going to give him some noticeable lines on his face. So you can see that that increased some of the lines on his face a little bit. There's some other things that I could do here. There's some skin variations, lightness. Let's say I increase the beauty marks a little bit here and see what comes up. So as I increase this, he should show up some little freckles and things. And I do see a couple coming up there. And we've got other things that are more like makeup and stuff. I don't think I'll really do much with that, although this is the color of the lips, or this is actually a lipstick color. Right now it looks like it's all the way down. If I were to pull that up, I should see a little bit of color come up on his lips, I think. It's really not noticeable very much. I'd have to really pump it up. Yeah, now I'm starting to see it quite a bit. So I might actually add a little bit of that just to give his lips a little bit of color, but it's barely noticeable, really. And so there's other things like suntan. If he's a surfer, probably has a pretty good suntan, so I might want to pull that up a little bit on him. And actually what that does, I believe it kind of makes the tan a little bit on the top sides of his body parts. Anyway, look through these. There's a bunch of things, and adjust it a little bit. Make it a more realistic character with more details and stuff. So you can see on his hands, actually, I think that there is darkness on the top more than on the bottom, and that's the suntan feature. So other things that I would want to adjust on here are the closed body parts. Something big like this jacket. Again, if I'm going to Maya, I might go a little higher on the resolution of that. 512 is pretty low. I might want to go to 1024. And then I can go to the main fabric and I can change it to any of these patterns that are down here. So there's a bunch of patterns here. Maybe I'd want to give him some kind of cool pattern, and I would like you to adjust so that they're not just straight out of the box. Like, do some things with it, change the colors maybe, or that's kind of cool. Kind of makes different parts slightly different. I'll just pull it up a little bit here. So yeah, that's kind of neat, and I could change any of these colors to something else if I wanted to. Let's say I didn't want this color of yellow. We could change it to a green, or maybe a slightly different color of yellow. Could be like an orange. Could be a blue. So whatever color you choose, you can see that there's multiple. I'm changing the yellow, and there's another yellow in there. So if I wanted to change that consistently, I would probably want to make that into a custom color. So that so if I'm here, just add to custom colors. Let's say let's get a little bit of a blue one there, or purple. And then if I add that to the custom colors and say OK, then I could go over to this other yellow here and choose that custom color for that as well. And now it's instead of a yellow and red and black, it's now purple, red and black. And there's other parts of this jacket that I could change. So if I look at, there's a part for the hood and pockets. If I wanted this part to also have that same colors, I could do it this way, and I could go and give it the same purple where the yellow was. Kind of like that. It's got the big checkers and the smaller checkers. Looks kind of cool. So his pants, same thing. Could choose something for him. You got metallic textures down here. It's on the main fabric. I'd probably want to change. You got patterns. You have metal. You've got fabric, leather. So those are some snakeskin board shorts. So that's kind of cool, and it matches the shirt there. So I think I'm going to leave that. And you can always adjust things like the specularity and everything, but I think that looks actually pretty good, so I'm going to leave it. And then, you know, I think that's he's definitely eclectic. So if I like this, I'm going to go ahead and save it. So make sure you do a save as. You're going to save it as a fuse file, so you can open up and continue working on it if you want to, or make adjustments. We'll call this Surfer Dude. Looks like I have a Surfer Dude in there. I'll just call it Surfer Dude 2. And then I want to export it because you can't take that file into Mixamo, so I'm going to export it as an OBJ. You can't send it directly to Mixamo from in this side of this version of Fuse. You can do that in the Adobe version. Make sure that you pack your textures. Do not combine your diffuse and specular. We tested that in class and that didn't work so well. So we're going to leave that off. But I do want to export in a new folder, remove occluded polygons, and pack the textures. 2048 is my largest map size, so I'm going to go ahead and use that and say OK. It's going to ask me where I want to save it to, what name I want to use. I'm going to do Surfer Dude 2 again. And it's going to put it in a folder as soon as it finishes exporting it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now, and I'll record the Mixamo part, the importing to Mixamo, and bringing it into Maya to check out the texture maps in another recording. Okay, see you in a bit.